You know when you're the King of France and you find out your favourite mistress has been using black magic to seduce you and serving you various potions in secret that contain menstrual blood, bat entrails, and just bits of metal? Hello, I'm Sinead from the Poisonous Cabinet podcast. It is high time we talk about the affair of the poisoners, a scandal that scared the living shit out of Louis XIV when he found out his court was overrun with poisons and black magic. In a recent video, I talked about the Marquise de Brinvilliers, a woman who was found guilty of poisoning her family in order to get hold of their riches and to have more lovers on the side in 17th century France. The case was so scandalous that it terrified Louis XIV. He had no idea, apparently, that rich people might use poison to their advantage, and so he started a mass witch hunt to find any person who was selling or wielding poison who might be trying to infiltrate his court, and he was more successful than probably even he bargained for. The Sun King assembled a group of men to rout out all poisoners in Paris at the time. This group was literally called the Fiery Chamber. Hundreds of people were arrested, rounded up, and 36 people in total in the end would end up being burned at the stake. But the investigations ended up uncovering a trail of poisoners that led right to the king's bedroom. To this woman, Catherine Mauvoisin. Ironically a devout Catholic, Catherine had always claimed that she was a clairvoyant, that she had powers to heal and soothe people. When her husband went bankrupt, she started her own business, selling tinctures and medicines. She also had a line in love potions, aphrodisiacs, made up of various animal parts and water. When Catherine and her daughter were arrested, they revealed that they had had one very important client, Madame de Montespan, the king's official mistress. Apparently, Madame de Montespan had been seeing La Voisin for years, procuring aphrodisiacs and potions from her in order to gain the king's favour. She had not started out as the official mistress of the king, but she had been loading him up on all sorts of things like toad entrails, menstrual blood, everything just slipped into his food so that he would fall desperately in love with her. And she successfully made her way into the king's chamber. But as the king's affections had started to wane as she got older, she had started taking even more drastic measures to keep his love. It was alleged that Madame de Montespan had participated in a black mass where a child had been sacrificed, all in order to keep her station. And then Louis XIV had taken a new mistress, Angélique de la Fontaine, described as beautiful as an angel and as stupid as a basket. Furious at having been replaced, it was claimed that Madame de Montespan had gone to the witch and her daughter to procure some poison to get rid of her rival. The witch apparently prepared a set of poisoned gloves to give to the beautiful Angélique. The 19-year-old girl fell ill and died. It was also alleged that La Voisin had a plot to kill the king himself. She had poisoned a special letter that she was going to deliver him on the day that he would meet the public, but the plans had been foiled. It was too busy that day, so she'd never handed over the letter. It seems that Louis XIV had had a narrow escape from being poisoned himself. When being questioned, La Voisin claimed, "Paris is full of this sort of thing. There is an infinite number of people engaged in this evil trade." The self-proclaimed witch did meet her end at the stake. The mistress, not so much. She lived out the rest of her days in a convent, a far cry from the fancy and beauty of the Sun King's court. Despite the best efforts of the Fiery Chamber during the affair of the poisoners, poisonings continued for many years afterwards. You can listen to the full story on our podcast and tell us, what do you mix in your love potions?